Hi, Dr. Friedemann here with Empowerment Solutions. Today I want to talk about how to protect yourself from a narcissist when you are in a relationship with someone, and how to, if needed, you can find a way out of it. Because being in a relationship, whether it's a friendship, a romantic relationship, or a working relationship, or even a relationship with a family member, being in a relationship with a narcissist is emotionally draining. It is something that eventually can really just undermine your confidence, your sense of normalcy, even your sense of reality, and destabilize you so much that you literally feel that you are orbiting around that person, trying to understand them better, trying to appease them, trying to win them back over, and in the midst of all of this, completely forget what you need, what you are having the right to ask for, and what you really want. How can you protect yourself, and how can you eventually get out of it? Well, besides being aware that you are dealing with a narcissist, the next step to protect yourself is to have a close look at yourself and really admit 4 simple, but maybe hard to swallow truths to yourself. The first one I already mentioned, which is that you cannot fix a narcissist. It's not your job. It's not in your capabilities. It's not anything that they really want from you. So this is literally an uphill battle that you're going to lose to try to get through to them, try to let them go of that armor, try to get to the core of their trauma. That is something that I don't think that anyone, unless they are trained and unless they really know what they're doing, can get to, can really help a narcissist with. And as I said also, a narcissist first has to want help. If they don't want help, they will immediately block it away or gaslight the person they're working with as there's nothing wrong with me. It's everybody else's fault, but not mine. I'm okay. And so, again, there is nothing that anyone can do unless they really want to. The second truth is that you're not special to the narcissist. As much as you may tell yourself, well, I am the only one they really love, or the only one that really counts to them. They told me many times. It's not true. You're not special. You're just right now that object that they really like to get from, because they don't really care about who you are. They only care about what you can do for them. And then the third awful truth is that nothing the narcissist says is true. Pretty much everything is a lie. Everything is either a projection or it's simply a lie to make you feel confused, to gaslight you, to get you out of, any kind of sense of stability or balance. And so don't even believe a word, because how many times did the narcissist, contradict themselves, where they first shower you with some compliments and then criticize you exactly for the same thing that they just praised? How many times they promise, you're right, I change, I'm going to do this differently, only to turn around and do exactly the same thing again, or maybe even worse. So don't believe a narcissist. And then fourthly, you have to really see that you have something inside of you that makes you feel drawn to this person. There's nothing wrong with you, but there may be something inside of you that, not even after you've seen all these red flags, you have aborted the situation and say, no, man, this is not really what I want. This is not safe. This is not what I deserve. You stuck with it. Now, it's possible that you were surrounded by narcissists as you grew up, so it's familiar to you. It's possible that one of the key figures in your early lives was a narcissist, and somehow that person rejected you or made you feel small, and you want to heal this relationship indirectly by picking someone who reminds you of that person and feeling like, well, I'm going to prove myself that I am lovable and that I'm good enough by picking that person who is similar to my mother or father or sibling and make them love me. Well, again, this is not something that works because you are dealing with a similar personality and you will deal with similar results. So also see this as an opportunity to look inside and ask yourself, why do I allow a person like this to treat me this way? Why do I feel drawn to this person? What do I want from this person? And what do I need to heal in myself to no longer want to be with this person, or I'm never going to go into similar relationships again? So these four things are really important to recognize, and then say, now let's look for the specifics. What are specific steps I can take? Now, there are the steps of really take care of your boundaries. Then there is the detachment, really learning to detach and be in a place where you really feel like, no, I am no longer in this kind of dependency. And then also being much more aware of your limits in whatever you're willing to share with the person. So limit your emotional vulnerability, limit the ways that you may have exposed yourself that in the end probably only would be taken advantage of. And the fourth step, look for help. Really ask friends, family members, go to support groups, or go to a professional like myself when you do feel stuck and you don't really know what to do any longer because you're trapped in this mixture of feeling dependent and at the same time also feeling so bogged down and lost with yourself that you don't feel you have the clarity or strength to move forward. Don't be shy, ask for help, because this is not an unsolvable problem. So let's delve into the boundaries, how to really be clear with your boundaries. So there are three boundaries that really going to help you to have a more firm barrier between you and the narcissist. And the first rule of setting boundaries is to be aware of when they're actually broken, when you feel like that this is not okay for me. And so when it, for example, comes to being treated disrespectfully, being called names, being, again, lied to, having a feeling that there is no sense of kindness or compassion, when the narcissist acts very jealously and says, horrible things about you because you want to see your parents rather than spending time with them, and they go into a fit. All those little things that are ultimately not what you want and what you deserve. This is where your boundaries get overstepped. So be aware of it. So that's, first step. Now, when it comes to boundaries, there is the communication of boundaries. So be very clear that you're coming from a place of advocating for yourself. This is not, setting a boundary is not pleading. It's not, wanting necessarily the other person to immediately agree with you. It's not necessarily making them understand. It's great if they do, but chances are they won't. But it's really important that you stand in front of yourself, having your back. Whatever it is, you have to come from a sense of strength and self-reliance, self-advocacy. And then the energy is completely different. Now, be prepared. You get pushback, you get a lot of blame, you get a lot of deflection, you may get, even more aggressive behavior. And so in your mind, you already need to know. So there are different levels of boundary. And the last one, maybe simply say, I'm done. I'm done talking about this. I'm out of here. And just removing yourself, because it's not going to go anywhere if someone wants to convince you that you're wrong and that they are right, not even listening to you, not even trying to really come to some kind of a mutual understanding, which again is really hard for a narcissist. Now, the second boundary is the boundary with yourself. You need to also realize how many times you're giving the other person power. not only power by doing what they want you to do, not only power by maybe feeling like that you have to hold yourself back so that they can, stand in the limelight or feel better about themselves, but you're giving them also power by thinking so much about them, by wondering so much, what is it what I'm doing wrong? How can I get them to see that I'm safe and that they can trust me, and that I love them? What do I need to give so that they finally feel like they can relax, and maybe I'm going to get a little bit of love and appreciation back? So this constant ruminating and trying to solve this puzzle, which is not solvable, that is certainly a boundary that you would have to have with yourself, and really limit yourself with this kind of inner thinking and spiraling. And whatever it is, if you have made that decision, you have to stick with it. You cannot just break all your own rules because someone is just too whiny, or maybe too pushy, or again manipulates you into this guilt tripping. The moment you are saying then to yourself, well, okay, one more time I do what they want, one more time I ignore my own decisions and that sense of caring for myself, you are undermining your self-worth. And that is a very bad signal to yourself, because again, it elevates the narcissist and it makes you feel just again smaller and also more powerless. And on a level, especially of the subconscious, this is a form of self-betrayal and self-abandonment that you really cannot allow to happen. So be very aware also of your inner boundaries, that you don't break them. And the third boundary is more an energetic boundary. It's when you get bombarded with negative energy, criticism, judgment. Maybe you get punished with withdrawal of love and attention, and you feel yourself taking all that on, like a dry sponge taking on everything that feels wet around you, and eventually you feel all this negative energy becoming you. And yeah, you don't even know why you feel so bad, but for some reason, whatever was sent to you made you feel this way. So an energetic boundary is an awareness that when someone is mad at you or tries to guilt trip you or just sends you all this bad vibes, that there is you can visualize it, a shield, an energy shield around you. I love to visualize, this kind of bubble that is around me, or a force field that's about 6 feet in all directions. And this force field is held together by a sense of compassion for yourself and by a sense of knowing that you are in the clear with yourself, and everything that is, pushed at you in regards to not being good enough, not being generous enough, and again, all that shame and blame and guilt that you're feeling, that this has nothing to do with you, that this is actually something that comes from another source, another person, and that's ultimately how they feel, but their opinion is not a reflection on your truth. So you create this visual energy field, this bubble of protection around you, and then visualize that energy that is negative simply staying 6 feet outside of you. And you can, even if you want to, have compassion for the narcissist, because as much as narcissists pretend they are the best and the greatest and everything is wonderful, it is true. There is a lot of suffering inside. And that is something to have compassion for. But having compassion doesn't mean that you have to justify all their wrongdoings. And it doesn't mean that it's up to you to fix it or change it. So let your imagination also make you fill up that bubble with positive energy, so that it keeps and pushes out all the negativity that you feel is, pushed or imprinted on you. Similar to a boundary is also this avoidance of showing too much vulnerability or really, showing too much that you have your own issues, your own wounds to deal with. When you are with a narcissist, unfortunately, those vulnerabilities, those moments of intimacy or closeness can also be later on backfiring, taken advantage of, be used against you. I remember a woman who told me that she really had problems at work, and it made her feel depressed. She was good at what she was doing, but it was really, really difficult interactions with her colleagues who were kind of jealous of her capabilities, and it really made her feel more and more anxious about going to work. And so she told her boyfriend about this, and he said, well, okay, here is what you can do. Go to HR and complain, or go to your boss and share this with you, or if nothing helps, just quit your job and look for something else. Well, she couldn't go to HR because she was afraid this going to backfire to her. And same with her boss. She wasn't really also willing to look for a new job because it was such a specialized thing that she was doing for work that it would be really, really difficult to find something similar. So she was stuck. She was really stuck in this situation. She became more and more depressed. But after a while, she wasn't allowing herself any longer to share what was going on, because it was only met with a lot of judgment and impatience and ridicule, and again, a sense of that this is her problem and nobody else's problem, and she should deal with it. And it really created a big rift between them. But it's an example where you can see that you want to be vulnerable, you share that you have emotional problems or that there is something really difficult in your life, and the narcissist is probably the last person that's going to help you out of it, because their agenda is either to be the one who just found that great solution so that you can say, oh my god, I'm so grateful, you're so amazing, once again, so lucky to be with you. And if that doesn't happen, again, they blame you. And very often, like in this case, for example, they think about moving on. Well, I guess you're too weak for me. I'm really much more into having fun and enjoying life in the moment, and you're so dreadfully depressed, and I don't want to deal with this. I want to, live my life the way I want to. And so that lack of empathy is really, really something very common, and it is maybe something you already have experienced. So limit your sharing. It's not ideal for a relationship. I understand if you are in a romantic relationship with a narcissist, you naturally feel like, well, what am I in this relationship for if I'm not really even be able to be myself? But the truth is, you can try it, but you will not get what you need. And again, you will be made feel bad because of your struggles. So have a boundary and just find other ways and other people to share your issues, and know that this person cannot really give you what you want. Another way to protect yourself from a narcissist and eventually get out of this relationship with one is to detach, practice detachment. Now, first of all, you may want to ask yourself, why am I so attached to someone who hasn't really treated me that well, who has not really given me what I needed, or hasn't really given me the amount of what I was willing to give to them? Why am I so connected or so dependent, or feel like I need to still somewhat hold on to it? And the reason is that you have been so brainwashed and made so confused about who you are. What is really your worthiness? Are you really lovable? Are you really good enough, that you have lost that sense of self? You don't know if it's okay for you to even have those thoughts of wanting to refocus on yourself and detach from someone else. And you also have spent so much time and energy focusing on appeasing and pleasing someone else that you really don't even know any longer what pleases you, what is good for you. And in the end, the days, months, and years are ticking away, and you're still there, and you're still unhappy. So emotional detachment, this gradually letting go, is a way for you to find yourself again. Emotional detachment is ultimately shifting the amount and energy and focus that you have given to someone else to yourself. Focus back on you. Rediscover who you are, what's important to you. Rediscover your joys. Rediscover what makes you feel at peace. Rediscover who you were before you were in this relationship. Rediscover your power, and certainly rediscover your truth. Just thinking about your values. What did I hope to get from a relationship, or what did I hope to share in a relationship? And is that really what I'm seeing right now? All of those things can be good steps to detach from that person that you feel in a very confusing and overwhelming and draining way so attached to. And here are some others. So I always like to think about in a relationship that ultimately we want to be giving and generous, but there is also the aspect of receiving in a balanced way. And when we are with a narcissist, it's often the giving to that person that is emphasized, and the receiving and the expectation to maybe getting something in return gets more and more pushed aside. So just make a little list, weigh out how much have I given to the relationship and how much have you received in return. That list is probably pretty short and pretty small, and it's maybe a list full of hope. Well, one day I will get what I want. So this is kind of the postponed happiness, but your list of actual things that you have been willing to generously offer to that person, to the relationship, is probably 3, 4, 5 times longer. And that gives you something to think about and to make you realize, okay, this is completely out of balance. I have a right to detach because it's not getting any better. It actually gets only worse. And then make a list of the things that you really find important in a relationship. Those dreams that you had in a relationship, to wake up in the morning and feel adored and loved, or to have this sense of that you have to really, that you're welcome with joy, like a friend of mine calls it, and at the same time you're also allowed to have your own life and to do whatever is important to you, and then you can come back without any repercussions, without any judgment or criticism. Maybe at the beginning there were glimpses of possibilities, but then it didn't really transpire into something real, something sustainable, or something that lasted. And so that is also important, just to see that whatever you have invested into this relationship, it was a lot, but it wasn't really leading to the fulfillment of your dreams and your hopes of what it means to be in a relationship. And then this, pulling back, this gradually just deciding that I want to detach, requires you to reattach with yourself. So make, also again, another list of just the things that that bring you joy, the things that you may have given up because of the relationship, seeing friends, going to the gym, going to yoga class, or meditating, or just reading a book, or visiting your family or siblings. The things that are important to you, that bring that focus and attention back to you, really, really important. And you don't have to rush into it. It's not like the detachment is like a cutting of some cord. It's just a pulling back. And you will notice when you pull back, when you're more your own person, when you regain your strength, the narcissist will either resist that and again, attack you, criticize you, judge you, tell you you're doing something to them, not anything to your or for yourself. It's actually done to them. You're taking something away. So you have to be prepared for that. And the other thing is that they may actually admire you more, and they may say, whoa, this is the person I really fell in love with, where has she been? You are so glowing. You are so, strong. You feel so empowered. And then they come back to, love bombing you, praising you, admiring you, because they want you back, because now you're filled up with all this juicy energy and they want to suck it dry. So you cannot let yourself be seduced back. No, stay good and strong and empowered and realize I actually have moved on. That's when detachment really leads to also a separation. And for any separation, it is always good to have an exit plan. Just because you know it's time to leave doesn't mean you have to leave in a panic. Because sometimes what happens is, again, that we are missing certain things and we are creating more havoc for ourselves than it's necessary, and really just building the bridge to the exit and feeling like, I get more information, I get more clarity, I feel more strength in myself. I'm more willing to say, yes, okay, maybe I don't have the same lifestyle that I had before when I was with a narcissist, but freedom and peace of mind is so much more important than that. Those things will just need to be built inside of you. And for that, it is really helpful to have support and look for professional support. Look for people, including myself, that can really help you to get the clarity and to get that confidence and that self-worth back, so that this is your life and you're not destined to give up on what is good and right for you just to please and appease or feed somebody else. It just is a poor and disturbed individual who is, spinning around themselves without really being aware of anything but themselves. And you have the right to leave them to it, because usually they just find somebody else that they also want to take advantage of, until eventually they will hit that rock bottom and hopefully look for help. But it's no longer yours to do, and it's your job to save yourself. It's your job to remove yourself. And you can only do this when you have yourself back. Being in a relationship with a narcissist is difficult. It's difficult because it is really as if we are living in a different reality, a reality where you become more and more a shadow of yourself, and you matter less and less to them and less to yourself. So it is a journey to find yourself back. But guess what? Once you found yourself back, and I've seen this so many times with my clients, you will never let go of yourself. And that is in some ways an indirect gift of being in such a relationship. And I know you can do that. So if you find this all very helpful, please sign up for the feed. Just click on the sign up button or subscribe button. Leave any comments or questions. I'm really happy to hear from you. And you can also find more information on my website, drfriedemann.com. Hi, Dr. Friedemann here. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. If you're interested in learning more about fear and anxiety, here you'll find guided meditations, webinars, and interviews with some of the most renowned experts in the field of empowerment. Delve into the over 230 videos and more to come every week.